get vaccinated. I urge you to do so. I don't usually reveal private medical information, but I've had my 2 vaccines and my booster, so I warmly recommend it to you. And no, I'm not a physician, but I go to doctors all the time. Yeah, I trust medicine. So when I'm ill, I go to a doctor or a nurse and I tell them my situation, and they treat me because they know far more about it than I can, and than I can ever know, because I don't have an aptitude for that kind of thing. I've not studied that sort of thing. So yes, you should put your faith in the experts. I mean, okay, perhaps faith is the wrong word to use, because these things are arrived at by a scientific method, by coming up with a hypothesis and testing it out, the experiment many times, double-blind tests, things like that, drug trials. So trying out these medicines and treatments, and that's how we get better, and that's how medicine works. So I'm very much opposed to these anti-vaxxers. Don't be so silly. What makes you think you know more than all these professors of virology and epidemiology, all these pharmaceutical experts and so forth, and coming up with these wacko conspiracies about big pharma and blah blah blah. And all right, pharmaceutical companies, they seek to make a profit, and they sometimes encourage people to take medicines they don't really need, to do with antidepressants and so on, over prescribing Ritalin. But this is different. This has killed several million people already, coronavirus. So we definitely need it. You see the countries that got the highest vaccination rates, and then it doesn't spread so much, and when it does spread, people tend to have a milder case. And if you're triple vaccinated, as I am, the chance of you dying, even if you contract coronavirus, is very low indeed, far lower than if you don't have it. Now, one of my dear friends, he's refused to be vaccinated on the grounds that he's 40, in root health, and most of it he doesn't smoke, and okay, he's not caught it. Well, not that I know, it might have been asymptomatic, and saying, but we don't know the long-term repercussions of taking this vaccine are, because of course it was rushed through trials, and they had to have some sort of indemnity pass, that just in case there are some negative side effects that we haven't discovered as yet, that they're not going to be sued to kingdom come. And I said, well, we don't know the long-term consequences of taking it, but we do know the short-term consequences of not taking are death in quite a few cases. And the number of high-profile anti-vaxxers who've died of coronavirus, which was very unlikely to happen if they had indeed been vaccinated. So don't be silly, come on, take it. And if you're one of those smart aleck anti-vaxxers and so on, and if you do get coronavirus, all right then, don't go to a hospital, don't go to a clinic. You just said you don't believe in medicine, that it's all a big conspiracy theory, that it's all a hoax, that you know better than all these world experts, all these brains trust doctors putting their heads together. Oh no, you know more than that. So then never take any medicine again. Never seek any medical treatment, whether it's surgery, whether it's chemotherapy, whatever it is, even taking creams for your skin, because you can't trust it, you don't know what's in it. Do your own research. And there's a sort of Dunning-Kruger effect at play. Those with a low cognitive ability are unable to assess their own level of aptitude for things, and they often grossly inflate their own sense of achievement, believing they can comprehend things that they really can't fathom. Now, I can't grasp virology, epidemiology, anything with pharmacology. I know that. So, I know your limits. The end of education is to know yourself. Was it Aristotle who said that? So I know my shortcomings, and I'm no good at anything scientific. So therefore, it behoves me to trust people who are experts in these fields, and these things are arrived at by a proper scientific method. And I know in this case they had to cut a few corners, but clearly it has saved millions of lives, the people who've had this, and there's those who haven't. But if you believe that medicine is one big conspiracy and you can't trust any pharmaceutical company or a doctor, then you should never seek medical treatment again, because you think you're oh so clever. So I said to people are ultra-crepidarian, and those are these insane conspiracy theories. They're obviously disseminated by bad actors, those who are actuated by malafides, such as the Russian regime, such as neo-Nazis in the UK, or far-left people, things like that. So come on, get vaccinated. I'm not calling for compulsory vaccination, but I am saying, all right, you won't be allowed to get on a plane unless you've been vaccinated, things like that. Would I keep children out of school? I'm not so sure about that. And my chum, who's a fairly low risk of catching coronavirus, the trouble is he could catch and pass it on to his father, who's in his 80s. And his father, even with triple vaccination, is a bit risky for him, just because he's of such an advanced age. So do the sensible thing, and this is about protecting not just you but others. I'm fairly libertarian, but the thing is, this is not just harm to oneself; it's harm to others. I certainly don't want another lockdown. I'm very glad that England has resisted that. Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland seem to seem to be having one. And my attitude to that is, if you think you're at a great risk, then you self-isolate. You lock yourself down. Don't try and take away everybody else's freedom, because obviously we have to balance people's individual rights with the common weal. So I very much advise you to be vaccinated. And of course, I don't know a great deal about these things, but I'm just laying out the case why average Joe like me, who has no background in biomedical sciences, believes that we ought to believe those who are very well versed in these fields. We should follow their guidance. You do that every day when the doctor says take these pills twice a day or whatever it is, or refrain from eating this, refrain from drinking that. I mean, because if you believe that medicine is all a con, well, why don't you start smoking like a chimney? Maybe you do. Maybe you think you can't die of a heroin overdose. Or maybe you think that sugar isn't fattening or something like that, or exercise doesn't help you lose weight. Absolutely crazy things like that. That intercourse cannot lead to conception or something like that. So I would urge you to do so, and then we'll all have a greater liberty. It'd be wonderful if the whole world was vaccinated. In the United States, I've heard that U.S. troops are being ordered to be vaccinated, and I've heard that some have been dismissed from military service for refusing to do so. And I think, well, that's the way military works. There's an order. You obey the order. It doesn't matter if you like the order or not. You've got to obey it. Otherwise, the military simply cannot function. And aren't they required to have various medical treatments, various vaccinations anywhere in the U.S. military? Perhaps I'm mistaken. Could we have compulsory vaccinations for various public sector workers, like to be in the police, to be a doctor, a nurse, teacher, something like that? Maybe not for the existing ones, but in future, if you want to join, we could do that. But I am a little optimistic, because I have read what some of ye conoscenti have said on this, and various healthcare mavens have said that they cannot suppress this growing sense of buoyancy, that the situation is getting rosier, partly because more people are vaccinated, that the medical profession is becoming more adept at treating this illness. It's less and less fatal than it was. Of those who contract it, even unvaccinated, quite a low percentage die now. Only about 2%. If you're vaccinated, it's much lower than that, like 0.1%, if that. And the other thing is, the vaccination does taper off, which is why we need a booster every so often. I know we get new strains. Omicron's not much to worry about. Last time I checked, Omicron killed one person in the United Kingdom. Even though it's highly infectious, it doesn't seriously harm a person if you get it. It's not too injurious. There was something else I was going to say, which appears to slip my mind. So I didn't seem to suffer any ill effect from it. This booster. I can't guarantee you won't. First one, I was as right as rain. The second one, I became very tired. Hello there, Mr. Sutherland, or is it Miss Sutherland? I don't know. Thank you for greeting the United States. I do trust you're vaccinated as much as you can be. I know someone who's 4 times vaccinated, had 3 in this country, flew to the United States, and then got another one there without telling me he already had 3. Or someone from Egypt to the United Kingdom, the United States, and ended up being vaccinated 7 times. I thought, is that harmful to a person to be so heavily vaccinated? So that's my penny's worth. Get vaccinated. You shan't regret it. Toodaloo.